happy. There's no such thing as a happy Monday, so let's get the fuck out of here with that. Happy last 19 minutes of Monday. Welcome to a Midnight Express. This is an open topic Monday.
I guess happy tax day too.
I did my taxes in February and got my refund at the end of February, so I'm good there.
I did mine last week.
Yeah, when you file like Schedule C, I'm on top of that because I have a lot of things that attach it. So I know I'm immediately getting stuff back. Plus, we donated a lot to a lot of charities last week as far as the center, last year as far as the center goes. So I knew what I was getting into. My sister's birthday was today, so her birthday is always on tax day, which is hilarious. So not a real big news day.
No, nothing much that I saw news-wise.
Stop! Hold on, dude. I'm a horrible fucking sponsor. Tonight's show is brought to you by Universal Pictures. Abigail, their latest vampire flick. It will be in theaters on April 19th. However, this Wednesday, I am sending a bunch of you. You guys are already signed up. You know who you are. You've already been reached out to. You're going to Regal Red Rock to see Abigail ahead of everybody else. I'll be at Rebel Moon. But you guys, I wish I could be two. I love vampire movies. I wish I could be in two places at once. But I can't. Also by Lionsgate, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, starring Superman. For those of you who are local here, you're going to see that tomorrow. It's in theaters. Also, this past the 19th is busy. It's in theaters April 19th, but a good 40 or 50 of you, I think, are going to be going on the Sci-Fi Center's dime tomorrow. So you guys enjoy that. I will be elsewhere. I will watch that one on streaming, not because I don't think it's going to be great. I just don't have the time this week because of the third and last movie sponsor is Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. We will be there for this one Wednesday, April 17th. It hits Netflix on the 19th. We will be doing a pretty much on this Friday. We will be doing a day-long celebration of this movie. We will start with the original and we will roll right into Part 2. That is going to be a 4-hour fundraising event. So we're going to start Rebel Moon Part 1 earlier in the afternoon. So we're going to be doing Part 2 at 5 because the majority of you have already seen Part 1, but we're going to be doing Part 2 at 5. So we're going to be doing Part 1 at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And that will be part of a long fundraiser that hopefully brings us to or very damn close to the 15,000. I haven't looked at it today to see where it's at, but I'm pretty sure we're still at 11,350. I think that's going to change this weekend. I just got a feeling.
Yeah, we're 11,350 right now.
All right, so we got about $4,000 or so to.
And our last donation was from Joss Whedon.
We probably want to change. We probably want another donation just to get that up here. So Rebel Moon, not in theaters, in a theater this Wednesday. I'll be there, and it'll be on Netflix on April 19th. So we'll be able to dissect that. That should be a pretty fun weekend. So those are who helped you get all the cool stuff that is the Sci-Fi Center. In order, excluding Banes, excluding the Venoms.
You mean this guy? This guy? Welcome back, brother.
I'm not a timeout guy. You guys know I'm not a timeout guy. I'm being pressured. I am feeling the urge to just make some people disappear. But next.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead in the chat now. How's it going, Vince?
How you doing, Vince?
Droga. I'm going Rhea. Of course, Rhea, as William mentioned, is going to be there on Wednesday with William for Rebel Moon Part 2. Are you going to be jumping on the screen with us to break down after you William see it, Rhea?
I'm not letting her. No.
Yeah. That is rude. Clint, the new "we will be soon" thing makes you think I am hold. Might smell there. Not quite sure what you're saying there, man.
Okay, I don't know if that was a typo, Clint, or if you're already partaking in the plant.
That might be a typo, yeah. It kind of gives it a chance for notification to go. No,
he's talking about.
He's talking about the wheel.
and makes me feel like I'm on hold. Yeah, well, the reason, and Vince is 100% correct. The reason I do that is because it bypasses StreamYards and YouTube, letting you know 30 minutes into a 40-minute stream that I'm live. So it gives you a chance. So when it goes live, it gives you a longer time in between the notification. It also gives me time to test out things and make sure that, StreamYard hasn't muted me or done anything stupid. So there's a couple of different reasons why I do it, but primarily so that it lets you know that we're on. So that you don't jump in the middle of the show, because lately, like I said, I get notifications legit 40 minutes after I've already gone live, and it's our show. So that's I was worried about that. So I added that in there. Plus, I thought it was cool. I was like one of the last YouTubers to do that. But yep, okay, gotcha, Clint.
Clint apparently hasn't done taxes in 3 years.
I do it because I usually get money back. So
yeah. Okay. Ruth, how's it going, Ruth? Listen to the car on my first aid training course. I'm sure that is that's code for something with Ruth. Yeah, well, then again, it might also be like, first aid is like with Ruth needs it more than anybody probably to know first aid in case she has second thoughts on something. Yeah. We rag on Ruth a lot with that whole thing, but it's all in good fun. Heard the film.
I've heard good thing. I had some people saw it in New York on today, as a matter of fact. Henry Cavill actually surprised them. He came out into the crowd in New York, and people were screaming out Superman, which I thought was hilarious. But,
hilarious slash telling, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah, like I said, we know the sentiment is there. We just got to find an audience. That's
Oh yeah, we're all in agreement on that. Daniel, how's it going, Daniel Martin? Azteca, how's it going?
Hello, how are you doing?
Is that Wednesday or here on the channel? I'm talking about like when you guys see Rebel Moon 2 on Wednesday, because
he's asking if I'm going to let you on the review, and the answer is no, because you've been coming after me lately, man.
Oh, like last night?
Last night on Vodka Stream. Like, I'm afraid to jump into the water because I know the Rhea shark is going to be there with her little floppy hat and her cat ears.
No, I'm just
instead of the shark fin, it's the cat ears coming above the water after me.
I'm just the opposite. It's like Rhea. It's like, oh no, bring it on. And not only that, she'll also bring on like all her reasons for why The Rock should be president. So
yeah, well,
we spent probably 20 minutes on that one when you brought that up, Rhea, that one time.
I know. That's why I'm not letting her in the store next time. She's going to stand outside the window.
How's it going, Aaron?
Hello, Aaron.
I love those shorts on the channel.
Yes, that is courtesy of Vince. Everybody thanks Vince for doing that because, like I said,
I need to send this to you, Vince. Like, go back to the New Year's Eve ZSGL watch party and clip out this one section that Spider-Man had where he laid out like, oh, here's how they can make everybody happy. Because he was really on a roll with that. He was also on a roll on Saturday too when we were watching the other version of the movie. I could tell you, man. I mean, I would imagine before Friday, probably Wednesday. And the thing about it is too is like I'm not particularly expecting them to be kind just because.
No, they're going to be shitty.
Yeah,
and
especially go ahead.
I don't think Netflix gives a fuck at this point because they know. They listen, and then there was another story today about Netflix focusing on and this is like, okay, that's what they always should have been doing. I mean, they're just basically they're doubling down on what's worked for them as far as I'm concerned. So when you produce content like that, you are going from the creators to the customer. And when you're sitting at home and it only costs you the price of the subscription, some critics' opinion doesn't mean as much to me as it would be if I'm making that really, triple-digit investment, taking the family out, something like that. If I don't like it, I just change the channel or I go on to something else in that place. So a lot of people, when it comes to like people's opinions and critics and scores and stuff, that when it's coming to streaming, I don't give a fuck about your opinion because I'm not spending that much money. I'm paying the same. My $16 is already spent on the Netflix subscription. So there you go.
Well, and just reading a lot of the reviews for the first one, it really became clear to me that it's like there's, again, it's the point I keep going back to, like the fact that we got the real version of JL released. It's like there are people in the media who are just still butthurt like you can't imagine
Well, because like I said before, like I've always said before, back before this technological age, those people decided what got pushed and what got released, what got greenlit. Now, for an instant, it was taken out of their hands, and they don't want to see that as a precedent because they lose their prestige. If you're an executive of a studio and you have other factors like this, causing waves instead of what you want or what your conglomerate and what your group of people want, then that's taken away from their power structure. You can't leverage things if you don't have that kind of power. And these type of movements, they can't control these kind of movements, even if they just get bigger or whatever. Now the hashtag thing is not as effective as it was 3 years ago, but at the same time, it was then, and they don't like it simply because it made them do something that they really didn't want to do. And basically it was their boss at AT&T that made them do what they didn't want to do. But their boss bought into it at the same time because their boss, wanted money. So there you go.
Oh yeah. And here comes the latest merger as we keep. So we'll see how that all plays out as we've been telling you guys on the channel. But
or it might not even take a merger. Like I said, a new CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery I do think there will be a merger, however, or a purchase or whatever, but it wouldn't have to. All you would need is for David Zaslav to ride off into the sunset, or be moved into the sunset, depending on they ever call a vote. Like I said, I mean, I don't know how long people will tolerate the stock being where it is. All those shareholders can if there's just like with one with Disney, that one failed, but the same process that that clown was trying to use to take over Disney can happen with to David Zaslav. If the shareholders are not happy, if you get the majority of the shareholders not happy, they can vote you out. That's it. They will have to give you severance and all this other stuff, but they can vote you out.
Not
so even Zaslav has a
severance.
What's up?
Not that Zaslav needs severance.
He doesn't need it, but I'll give you an example. Robert Nardelli, probably the worst CEO Home Depot's ever had. He took over after Bernie and Arthur retired. Bernie and Arthur, the founders of Home Depot. His tenure was so bad that they paid that man $210 million to go away.
Really? Oh, I'd love to get. Man, most people would love to get fired that good.
Yeah, I get fired at my job. When I was there, I'm getting, you clock in and your number doesn't work anymore. That's what happens, and you got your final check waiting for you. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how. I don't see one way or another. I see someone else, and to be quite honest with you, all of these companies, all these studios need someone else to be below the age of 60, well below the age of 60. You need somebody like a Generation Xer, a millennial, or somebody in that scope that appreciates the overlap of these things. They grew up without all these things, but they appreciate the addition of these things, and so they in the boom, some of the later Generation X and baby boomers do appreciate that stuff, but not when it comes. It doesn't seem like it's when it comes to the studios. Like when it comes to David Zaslav, when I hear him talk, it's like I'm being transported back to 1988. It's like, dude, you're using terminology and logic that just doesn't apply in 2024 anymore. And I think it's a hindrance to the company because there's new ideas and things like that. If you look at Netflix structure, even Dan Lin, let's look at Dan Lin, who, like I said, I don't think has as much power as some of these other guys do, is because he basically is jumping onto something that has been working really good before he got there. But how old is Dan Lin?
He's about 50, I think.
Yeah. So there you got a guy like that, and then look what else you have. When Bob Iger finally retires again, I don't think they're going to put another 70, 80-year-old man in that position, because, like I said, you really have to have a visionary. You really, like I said, I know we joke about it, but Jason Kilar was the right guy. He had the vision. He took the risk. He was willing to take the risk to do things, and you're going to need a guy like that. So I think Zaslav. How old is David Zaslav? Is he 65, 66?
Yeah, it's like something like that. Yeah.
So I mean, he's got tons of money. His big major move was getting Discovery merged with one. So I don't know if did you want to stay around? and deal with all this, And like I said, a new person is going to bring in.
Zaslav is 64, and Dan Lin is just turned 51.
Okay, so I don't. What's left for David Zaslav to do at Warner Brothers? He's not going to be the one to get him out of debt. He's not going to be the only way he's going to be the one to get him out of debt is if he sells to a much larger company and that debt is absolved immediately. You know what I mean?
He's old enough now. In a year, he could be collecting Social Security,
which he does not need.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, so it doesn't take. I know we talk about merger. It won't even take a merger. It just all it takes is a new boss with a different vision and somebody who has something contrary to what's going on. If he looks at it and says, you know what, I'm not totally on board with this. I want to change that, and that'll be it. So, but I do think it will be in the form of a merger because the debt that is holding down that stock is going to have to be handled one way or another. The only way I see it being taken care of to where it's not a drag is if a much larger company swallows them up and they can just eliminate the debt right out. They can take the stock hit and they can take the financial hit, and there's only a handful of companies that can do that. So next one.
All right. Yeah, where the hell am I? I lost the. Wow. Okay, here I'm back. Sorry. Rhea has a really good one here about you guys going to Rebel Moon 2 tomorrow.
Okay. I can fix that. No, I'm just kidding.
Netflix is scared they won't lift embargo before release. Well, William just laid out. Yeah, why they.
Yeah. Dude, there's a lot of stuff on Netflix that's really bad. That if a reviewer were to get it, it's going to get shit on. But you know what? I'm going to tell you from personal experience.
You know how many Adam Sandler movies they've done right now on Netflix?
Yeah, and for the most part, those are all awful. But they got like indie stuff. They got stuff that you've never heard of. They got They got all manner of stuff on there. And if you took a critic score to it, it's going to get hammered. But I will tell you from personal experience, some of that goofy, low-budget B-movie shit is actually kind of fun. And a lot of people agree with me because Netflix has been working. There's a lot. Dude, we should go one day. We should just take Netflix, and you could find so many C-level knockoffs of major films on there that some of them they don't even try to hide. They'll use the exact type of writing that the original. I mean, they don't care because you know what? People are watching it. People watch that stuff because when you're leaning back like this, and you got your beer, you got the mistress, you got the kids over there sleeping, the dogs, sleeping on the rug, everything's just kicked back, and you're just pushing play and letting it go on maybe a Sunday night, And people are watching this stuff, and if you were to rate this stuff, it's going to get really bad ratings. It's going to get really bad reviews. But it doesn't matter, and Netflix doesn't matter because, like I said, the whole point of reviews, is to guide you on what you were to invest that money into. If you've already invested the $16, and I want to watch Satellite Moon, Bruise Giver, with some kind of knockoff of everything, and who cares if everybody gave it a thumbs down? I'm kicking back, If you're in the pot, you got your bowl, you got everything you need. All you want is to relax and watch what's on the screen, and Netflix gives it to you. So it doesn't matter. I don't think Netflix is scared of reviews. Not on this. No. If we were now theatrical stuff, stuff that, you're on the hook for and you got to make that's different. But when it comes to streaming, that's why I think streaming is one of the many, many, many reasons I think streaming is going to become the focal point is because, like I said, it allows you to put your product right into the laps of the person you want to have it. You're pushing everybody out the way. You're pushing the YouTubers out the way. You're pushing the pundits out the way. You're pushing the critics out the way. You're kicking them out of the way, and you're running right to your customer, and you're putting that right in their lap and saying, here it is. So, no, I don't think they're scared. Next one.
Yeah. You keep taking them off before I can find my place back in where I was.
We'll hit the star button, buddy.
Okay, here we are. I watched Cavill's interview on the Rich Eisen show. I had no idea he was a Chiefs fan.
Neither did I. I didn't know he was in American sports. There you go.
So I thought Cavill was wearing a Kansas City Royals style shirt in the Nightmare on Man of Steel. Oh yeah, when Zod goes into his mind, yeah.
By the way, guys, if you'd like to donate to the Caffeine Fund, it is running low. You can always use the link that's tied to the top of the chat, and I'll put it in here. Frat Fund, Loaded Fry is fun. StreamYard's monthly fun. All kinds of stuff that we kind of burned through. So there it is, streamlabs.com/the Sci-Fi Center. You can drop me a tip, and I will read your question if provided it's not something vulgar or something that I can't get into or something crazy. If it's something personal, I will get back with you directly on, because some people have left stuff on here that is not, that you guys have left tips, but the thing that you've asked me is not appropriate. It's private type of deal. So there you go. All right, next one. Or we already have that pulled up. Let me get it.
Yeah, they're there.
William, you need to stop all your chats. All right. I will watch Fallout, but I just haven't had time to.
Well, Rhea, we did get actually a little bit of news before, like a kind of soundbite from Zach. I thought the director's cut was going to debut at the same time as Scar. You were spacing out, kind of makes sense. Yeah, because like one of the interviews given on the press tour, he's they don't have a date locked down on those two yet. But
I'm disappointed about. I'm really disappointed about that.
Well, but I mean that's not all in his power. I mean it's like he can't just.
No. I'm disappointed in Netflix about not having that ready before this comes out. But Yeah.
But he said he does want to drop them both on the same day, and that like the latest he's talked about is that it looks like they're kind of shooting for August right now for the
wow. I thought it would have been a coup to have them ready for this, but yeah. Oh.
Yeah. It is what it is. We'll get there. Let's see. I wonder if, given the opportunity, Snyder would do this release of Rebel Moon strategy over again if he has no regrets about it. Well, I mean, you kind of need to see the whole thing play out too, because we haven't even gotten to like the initial release. I mean, some people have seen it, but we haven't gotten like the wide initial release of the first cut of Part 2, and then of course there's the extended cuts of both of them coming tentatively in August. So it's like I would imagine it's like you want to see like the whole picture before you decide whether or not you have any regrets or whether you thought it was the right decision.
Now if you extend it to August, you got people talking about your product from November of last year to August, so I don't think anybody's going to have any regrets.
Yeah. Reyes says, I love the cinematography, slow-mo, but not too much for the premise. I care about each of the characters, excited to see their arcs. Yes.
Are we talking about Rebel Moon still?
Yeah. No, because fourth is fourthing.
Like I said, I mean, people, like I said, we don't have to share the same opinions about movies for them to be right or wrong.
Well, now we got Clint, really Clinting. I used to talk about rumor, then I got hot. Sometimes I really do wonder, like, how much you guys you guys really just like to just jerk our chain for the comments. You had one.
He's probably high. He's probably high.
That's true. What did I do wrong this time? And last night you guys were blaming William. So I mean, how did we go back to blaming me?
No, when you kept losing people in the chat.
Well, it's because William kept pulling it down before pull the comment down.
I didn't pull anything down.
No, you read the comment, then you pull it down, and then that's like I couldn't find my place from the comment.
Oh, because you're using that as a marker.
Yeah. Right. So we are. Yeah. So this is not blame Brad. This is very much William. So much so that I just made sure it was entered into the chat there. Okay. Aaron says Ozzy just signed to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was unaware of that.
He's taking that con money. Cool.
When I used to have Netflix, I spent more time scrolling than watching. I mean, that's what is that called? Like analysis paralysis?
Yeah, I just let it play. A lot of times I'll just let it roll into the next thing.
I mean, if it's
something, I'll turn it off.
If it's something like this where it's like I was already like predetermined, like once this is on here, I'm going to be pulling it up. It's like, yeah, I pull that immediately. But if it's just I don't have any particular plans set for the evening, I'm just checking out what's on here that I haven't seen, then I can fall.
Yeah, and the way they rank them, you open it up and it has a little list on there, and like I said, they know what you want because you're there. They're using all your data to cater to you. So
Fat Zach made 4 movies. It was like 166, but it was like 80 million, like per each one individually, and yeah, of course that's when you kind of like tally it all together, yeah, he technically got 4 movies out of that. So yeah, he knows how to get the most bang for his buck. Let's see. Roman says Rebel Moon was pretty missed. Snyder fans have on the same level. Cemetery delusional. Well, I mean, we're used as a fandom to being called far worse. So
Whenever someone uses the word delusional, I have yet to be on the internet or on YouTube. And you, Marcus, I'm not just picking on you. No one seems to know what that word means, and everyone misuses it. I wish the internet would stop. Rebel Moon was pretty mid. Snyder fans who put it on the same level as dude. I grew up with Seven Samurai, and I have people who have gone to film school who don't like it, and think it's one of the most boring movies ever made. If you don't have appreciation for Kurosawa, then it doesn't matter to you what level it's on. It's all subjective, But put that back up. But you should never tell someone just because they have an opinion about a movie that they're anything, even if you're like I said, you're all of you are you misusing the word delusional. But like I said, there's people on that watch this show that are like some of the dumbest movies I've ever experienced.
Some of them that I've had to suffer through recently.
I have people who Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, I think is
that's fantastic. It's one of the whole hilarious
flaming trash.
We played the opening of it and had me laughing my ass off.
Brad likes that. Do I call Brad names for liking that trash? No.
Offline,
you guys should not partake in that. So next one.
Yeah. Okay. Rhea, so William Starbucks is buy one, get one on Thursday. Get that 2 times caffeine kick after the previous event day.
Yeah, because I had the Triple Stars day over the weekend, so I was using that too. So, yes, I am well. I keep an eye because, whenever I can get free coffee, I do.
Yeah. Aaron says it looks like the Kansas City Chiefs could be relocated to the state. Yeah, I've never understood that whole. It was like we're calling Kansas.
That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. That is not. I heard that threat. That no. They will, especially now. Especially now. Are you? Wow. Yeah, you want to see some them tearing down some stuff. They'll create a human chain to keep that shit from happening.
Yo, Will, Brad, Bay. I think he's just saying hello to everybody.
Hi, the new Bell Rev. When are you going to come on the show?
Yeah,
you're always weightlifting and
love to have you
out and stuff.
Just don't push my buttons on a scary movie with this new one that's been announced.
Nah, you can come on and do just that, Bill.
Yeah, but I mean, it's only if you're willing to bat me up on the Raid 2 watch party that we're going to make happen come hell or high water.
The only backup that really needs to happen on Raid 2 is donations to our charity.
Hey, Will, are you a vampire? She's calling you Will, so
yeah.
But you should just capitalize that to make it clear.
I am a vampire.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, I am a nocturnal animal. I want nothing to do with the AM other than that's when I go to bed. So yeah, I'm a night owl. I've been that way my entire life, even when I was a little kid. And now that I live in basically a place that is like, during the summer is 100, degrees and stuff like that, I tend to do things primarily at night. So yeah, I am very much a vampire.
I've been meaning to ask about that because it's like, how much did you have to adapt that to military service? Because I mean, military, it's like you're up at the crack of dawn.
I only did it when I had to. When I was under on military orders, I adjusted and I adapted. It was no problem. But it's when I was not, I reverted back to being the nighttime creature that I am.
Because my dad,
I can do it. I can do the 5 a.m. I can do all that stuff. I can do it. I did it when I was overseas.
Has to be like you have to like get the heads up that this is expected of you.
Yeah, you just have to make the adjustment. Like once I'm on orders, I'm like, okay, well, this is what I got to do. I have to be a certain place at a certain time, and that was it. It's real easy when you have to do something like that. But when I don't have to be up early, I am not up early.
Well, because my dad, because he was, enlisted for 22 years, so I mean, he got so used to getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and so I mean, he, after he retired for the longest time, he would just reflexively wake up then.
Well, see, and when I was active duty out here for a while, and I had to be up early. I did it. I would wake up. I would always have the alarm, but I would wake up anyway. I almost never needed the alarm, but I had it. Set, but your body gets used to that. But trust me, as soon as I was off those orders and I was back to being a civilian, I immediately reverted. I did not keep any. I do not wake up immediately on especially when I went over combat. Half of the year I was there was spent on the night shift, and then the other half was spent on the because we switched. So it was that kind of adjustment now. But I am primarily a night person. I am when you see me. Unless I got something, and that's why when I have to be up early, if you notice, it throws my schedule off. Like when I have to be there for Sting and all that other stuff, or when I have to be up, to do stuff for Easter, it really fucks with me. So I try not to do that, but sometimes you just have to. But there you go. Yeah, mostly we're night people because we usually generally at some point in time, if you're in theater. If you're in theater, combat operations, no matter who you are and what you're doing, is a 24-hour thing. Logistics is 24-hour. So somebody is up or either up or getting up. Somebody's always running and doing machines. So at half of the time, you can pretty much figure that half of your year at doing anything with the military, if you're in that theater, is going to be really late or really early. So you just got to make the adjustment. I hated the really early part, by the way. I'll probably figure that out.
Rhea is like what?
Yeah, a lot of us that are here are pretty much like I said, we got a good chunk of our audience that is not, though, because like I said, I hear from people who are never on our live streams, but that do watch the show.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, well, and of course, there's also the whole thing with time zones, and you mentioned.
Yeah, like Ruth is, working, and Aaron is.
Well, and also, I mean, you mentioned looking at the viewership metrics, seem like we got people we've never talked to.
We got people in Pakistan. Yeah, we've never had anybody on from Pakistan, but I know they're watching it, and I know they're not just jumping in because it shows their watch time. So it shows the average international watch time, and I'm still amazed that there's somebody in Punjab. Or if I'm pronouncing it right, why you said Punjab? Oh, okay. And I wish I could reach out to them. Hey, thanks for watching all the way over there, man. I know you guys are going through a lot of shit over there, but thanks for taking the time out to watch my show. But it doesn't give you all that, so it doesn't break it down by the person. I would.
Nick of time, fourth.
There you go.
Oh, I saw you post about this earlier, Aaron. Bad News Conjuring 4 is going to be the last Conjuring sequel. Yeah, well, I mean, think about it because they've done so many spin-offs. I mean, they made it. It's the Conjuring universe now, so it might be the last straight Conjuring movie, but I mean that doesn't mean it'll be the last chapter of the Conjuring universe.
But kudos to them to know when it's time to not do it anymore. Some people can just continue to do it, and sometimes you have to. You don't want to be that boxer that gets punch drunk and has to stop because he can't do it anymore. You want to be the person that's this is a good spot to end it. So.
Yeah, I think we've kind of agreed that's the mistake the Expendables made recently.
Yeah.
God, that fourth one still hurts me. I was so looking forward to it.
Yeah, they were really done after 2, but
the 2. I think the consensus, pretty much everybody agrees that 2 is the best.
Yeah, then that was it. Now like I said, sometimes you need results to tell you it's over. It happens. All right, next one.
Clint, I have doctor prescription. Oh, I wasn't aware you had a prescription.
Yeah, okay. I know. Remember, I told you.
Oh,
yeah, well, he actually has. Yeah,
I must have
when he says it's
weed
time. Yeah, when he says it's weed time, yeah, that's because he's got a lot of issues that it helps him with.
Okay. Yeah.
You'll see his demeanor change when he's on the street. When he says it's weed and all that, and I know him, so I know what's going on. I'm like, oh hey, and you enjoy that, buddy.
All right. You have fun with the wacky tobacco, my man. I saw that, Aaron. I'm not sure they will let it because maybe it can be a serious refresh in a few years. So I mean, yeah, the others. I mean,
but they have other franchises that they can use with it now, so it's not just it might be time for the Conjuring to end, but
Nope.
not necessarily the branches.
Yeah, the Annabelle and like this. Again, it's the Conjuring.
Oh, by the way, Annabelle, yeah. No, I'm doing Abigail. I do. When I was putting the description for Abigail, I almost put Annabelle as just like, damn. No, one is a doll, one is a vampire.
You know, it really is. It's time to like wrap up the book on this. Is Fast and Furious because it's like
they are. You're getting to the end of that.
No, but it's like, but really, well, like a lot of people like say in hindsight, although they could have done. I think they could have done what we were just suggesting, where it's like with like ending the series proper, but still like keeping kind of the spin-off side of it going with the seventh one, because the seventh one, it's like it ends. That was the one where Paul Walker died during the making of it. They all
make so much money though. That's the problem.
Yeah. But they've just flown off the rails. Like, I mean, it's not. It's
if they'd have flown off the rails and people stopped showing, you would have been fine. But they didn't. I couldn't believe
how ridiculous this series has become.
Yeah, and it's still now they've spent too much. Like that last one cost way too much to do.
Oh yeah.
They can control but you can control the budget. They still make good money, even with the probably the very last one that they do. I think it's gonna be 12 or 13 or whatever. But whatever it is, the last one they do is gonna make a crap ton of money because it's gonna be the last one. But you still have Hobbs and Shaw. You still have the race. So it's time for them to move on. But you know what? It had a good ride.
Yeah, that's where that was kind of looking back on it. I feel like ending the series proper with 7, especially when, again, anybody who's seen 7 knows like why the ending would have been so perfect there. But then like again, Hobbs and Shaw, that I really liked that a lot, and that's been the only one since 7 I really liked. But that's a spinoff, so it's like you could have still said, okay, the mainline series has ended, but we've got these other characters.
Those guys are money. Those guys are money.
The Rock and Statham,
yeah, those guys are, and they take care of themselves, so they could do these movies for quite a while. So next one.
Oh yeah. Aaron says, "God, I hope you're right, Ray. I was shot there." So, yeah, I saw you, Aaron. You were really taken aback by the that Conjuring for him, but we'll see. I mean, it's like if it ends up being like the biggest of the Conjuring franchise and the most beloved, I mean, what is what you want to say about Matt? So it's like, but again, it's like you do have to weigh that against the when like which way the wind is telling you. Okay, like you still made a good profit this time. But
don't overstay your welcome. Yeah, don't overstay your welcome is what I always say. But by the way, Brad, we keep forgetting that Brad will be coming on screen with us this Friday.
Yes, you guys can't wait to see my beautiful face.
Yeah, I'm like, and Aaron, you need to come on too. I need all these avatars to go. I want humans on there with me. The other day, I was the only face on the screen. I'm like, what? Come on. I'm quite sure I'm the ugliest one out of all of us, and I have my face on the screen. So all you guys, come on.
And Godzilla versus well, no, it's like, well, no, we've said it's like, oh, it's absurd. It's silly. It's over
the top. Godzilla X Kong is even more ridiculous.
It's a big time cartoon, but it's like it knows what it is.
Yeah. And plus, like I said, I mean, there are people who watch that. I looked at the movies that they watch, and I'm like, I couldn't sit through this if you paid me. But you, guys
half the time, Chappie like lists off something. I think,
I think he's trolling me, but yeah. I don't. This is the one thing I do want to bring to our show on the internet is I'm not gonna. I just don't want to call you anything because you like a particular type of movie. I might make fun of the movie. I might make fun of the genre, but I'm not going to make fun of you for liking the genre. So that's why I stand on that one.
Yeah, well, it's like we do have each of us, ones where it's like we have to remind ourselves of that in the moment. With William, it's Howard the Duck. With me, it's Scary Movie.
Yeah. Now it's a lot easier with Howard the Duck because I can't find people that like the movie. So
yeah, that's true.
Or the people that made the movie.
Yeah. If you imagine if like you had to go the route I did, it's like a whole stream of people telling you, no, Howard the Duck is actually really good. No one's going to say that because it's terrible.
No, nobody's going to say it. They didn't say it back then. Now people, it's a guilty pleasure for people, and that's different. I mean, but this is a horrible movie. But and then there's a lot of really bad movies. I think, like I said, like we just the primary one I bring up, and I think it's not only can I not stand Ace Ventura, either one of those. I just think it's unfortunate because while he was making those movies, he could have been making the kind of movies that he made towards the end of his career. And, we just missed out on that. And we got stupid pet tricks anyway. But anyway, next one.
Okay. I feel like low key, some people are pretending to be cinephiles, and it's honestly annoying. Some people like what they like and move on. Who cares? Honestly, I mean, yeah.
It's their time, it's their money. You know, when you try to do, oh, this is not, and it's the term I fucking hate. I hate it. This is cinema. I'm like, get out of here. You know, get out of here. All right, with that shit. You don't know what cinema is, and which cinema to you might not be cinema to me, and which cinema to me not might be. I mean, whatever the fuck that is. I mean, gravitate towards the things you enjoy. Do your best to try to bring people into your circle. You know, it's okay to try to convince people, hey, I like this movie. You want to watch it, but if they don't, they don't. It's just, they're not.
Yeah, gravitate what you enjoy. But if what you enjoy is a scary movie, please don't take me with you.
But even now, listen. We make fun, but there are people who like those movies and get excited when those movies come out. We're not one of those people, but I have to respect the fact that they don't make them for free. It's not a profit. It's not a non-profit experiment. Those things make enough money to justify them continuing being made, which means there's somebody out there that values them, and if it's not us, it's not us. Now, I will exploit the fact that it's not us to raise a crap ton of money for a cause, but at the end of the day, I don't think any less of anybody for liking scary movies.
New Bell Rev says, I want more Zack Snyder DC material rather than sci-fi. That's just me, though.
No, that's me too. And that's why when I and so many people who I stream with and have respect for tell me, you guys only care about Zack Snyder because of his Deep Cape stuff, but he's doing this and this. You should support this. Hey, now number one, I do support the stuff he's doing because I do like it. But the guy, listen, if you came to the party because it was a superhero party and the mood changed, then you are not obligated to be happy about that. I mean, if you don't. Listen, if you don't want to watch Rebel Moon because it's not your genre, and superheroes was, and that's what you enjoyed, you're not supporting Rebel Moon. It doesn't make you an asshole. It's not your thing.
And you shouldn't be guilted for feeling that way.
Yeah. I've been watching superhero movies, I think, since they've been making them the big ones since the 70s, 80s. I think Zack Snyder's interpretation of most of these characters is the best I've ever seen. Plus, I'm a layered comic book geek. I mean, from kid up till now. So I've seen a lot of these different interpretations. I like his the best. If I had the choice to, if I had a genie in a bottle and I'd say, well, if you could see more of Rebel Moon or more of his superhero stuff, I'm going to pick the superhero stuff. I'm biased. I'm biased for very obvious reasons, but doesn't mean I'm not going to not watch his fantasy stuff because that intrigues me too.
Well, and also, the point I keep going back to with what you're saying, Bell Rev, is again, it's with people continuing to advocate for seeing his DC story through. It's like I think the thing, a lot of people I think are doing this consciously or not, are underestimating the impact of this, but I think you can't underestimate the fact that it's not just the fact that it was cut off; it's the why and the how of it being cut off. It's the fact that the Justice League movie he made was buried for so long, and we had it had to be pried out of Warner Brothers' hands with the jaws of life. It was, I mean, the studio outright lied about so much of it for years. And then they come out and try to kill it 4 days after it's released, and then we had to fight for another year and a half to get 5 seconds of a Cavill cameo, appearing as Superman and Black Adam, and then that gets just gets squashed 2 months later too. So the circumstances of like how all of this that some people were invested in, how that has been stopped, how that has been ended, it's like that really factors into the how and the why of why so many people are still saying, no, we want to see this through. And it's not invalid for them to feel that way. I mean, I feel that way. So
yeah. I feel that way, but even if I took the personal stuff out of it, the fact that I hate these fucking people that did it, because I thought that their business practices were trash. It's just the fact that I started a story and I never got resolution to that story.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me without qualification that I should, I for some reason, that just because James Gunn or whoever is making something next, that I'm obligated to like that or even trust you with that. So I mean, even without the Sarnoff, I could not know who any of these fucking people are. All I know, I'm going to reduce myself to the layman. They're just a regular Joe Average. I started something, you left me hanging, I moved on to other things, and I just don't hear you now when you call me about the other stuff. So
Yeah, one and
Right,
plus, the other thing I bring up too that's being very pertinent to this is, I mean, listen, nobody told James Gunn fans that when he got canned on Guardians 3 initially, nobody told, and he moved over to DC and started with the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and his fans very passionately advocated, no, we were invested in what he was doing with Guardians, and it's like, we don't like how this is being
which is
shut
their
off,
right as a
and
consumer.
yeah, and no, and they were not, none of them were told at the time. It's like, no, you should just be, he's off, he's doing new stuff now, you're being selfish, or you're being you're not
Never
thinking, you're not thinking about him like this. It's like, would they continue to advocate for it, and they got what they wanted. So
never ever tell your customer what to do. Never tell your customer what to do.
And never tell other fans what to do.
Yeah, I've advocated that for all right. Next one.
Yeah, so we can definitely, we have said our piece on that plenty of times, but it always bears repeating, I think. Okay, so what else you guys got for us? Bell Rep says, I'll come on when Rhea comes on. Rhea's been on.
Okay, so that means never, because she's been on a bunch and you haven't come on. So what's up, man?
I definitely saw scenes that would have been way more impactful to see some gore, colorful. Well, let me be clear. Have you seen Rebel Moon 2 yet, Ray? I'm not fully clear.
I don't think she has.
Is she talking? Are you talking about this, or are you talking about Abigail, or which one are you talking about right now, Ray? I'm not fully clear on like what you're. Or are you talking about Rebel Moon 1? Yeah, can you clarify that for me in the comments, Ray?
I think she's talking about the scenes that we did see, that we could clearly see that those weren't.
Yeah. Well, like the fight scene, the first Korra fight scene, or the first one, which is really good, but
and all that point blank gunshots.
There's gonna be blood flying in the extended cut for sure.
I wish the extended cut would have been ready, but you know what? I just it'll be fine.
Bell Rep is definitely a night owl.
You go to sleep at 5 a.m. That's my average time. Yeah, and we're on the way. I think we're both on the West Coast, so yeah,
Bell, yes, I'll most likely join for the Scargiver discussion. Okay.
I'm not letting her on the air because she's been, like I said, she's been fucking ruthless lately, man. I'm like, wow. I'm just like stabbing me, little cuts. I don't even know if I'm being stabbed until I see her. She's got the knife. She's got a needle in me. Chasing me to other streams to stab me a little bit more. Like, man, what happened? I thought we were cool.
Only did it because I had to. Are you talking about like those days are
getting
over?
Up early? Yeah. Those days. Trust me, once that shit's over, it's over. That is not in my blood. Early AM hours, I will end the day on early AM hours, but I will not start the day early AM hours. Even when I work out, like, and especially during the summertime, I work out primarily. Like when we were doing our streams over the summertime, I go out and work out then. So I'm out there running 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So
yeah, I dread having early morning appointments.
So do I. VA appointments
too. Natural
VA appointments. VA appointments are usually super early in the morning unless you can get them scheduled in the afternoon, and those are hard to get. So yeah.
Austin, I think you kind of went into this a little bit ago, but Austin has thoughts on Dan Lin coming, making because that is Rebel Moon Part 2 is more received. It could be end of that universe. Yeah, I think you kind of addressed.
I think you read that way too fast.
Why? Because I think you kind of addressed this a little bit ago. What are your thoughts on Dan Lin coming and making big cuts to Netflix? If this Rebel Moon Part 2 isn't well received, that could be the end of that universe.
No, not at all. It's not that expensive in comparison to what he's talking about, and I don't think those are the kind of cuts he's talking about. And B, once again, Dan Lin is a pilot. He is not the airliner. All right, you got to realize that things are going good for a very long time at Netflix. All he's doing is managing things. But there's a cabal of people that are going to be like, you're going to cut what? Okay, that's fine. Oh, you're going to cut good? No, we're not doing that. So he's going to have to run a lot of that. But to be honest with you, I don't think you're going to be cutting a lot with Netflix. I think you're going to be focusing more on volume. So you're not going to see the Irishman level stuff all the time. You're not going to see you're not going to see a Stranger Things all the time. You'll still have your high end stuff because you have to have your high end stuff, but they're going to shift their investment to volume, which is fine because that's what keeps people on Netflix, because there's a lot of stuff to watch. Most of it no one's heard of, but you don't need to. It's like, you don't need to know what's in my house, but if you visited my house, you've seen inside. Everybody else, you were in, you see everything. So I don't think Rebel Moon would, especially you're talking about another third one, and then spinoffs and stuff like that. None of that stuff is not that stuff is not very expensive. And even if he did, it's a first look deal. If they get first rides, if they don't want to do it, someone else can pick it up. I mean,
first look basically means right of first refusal.
Yeah, he's not under exclusive contact, and if they own the rights to it, but they decide they don't want to go forward with it, they'll probably just let him take it somewhere else. I highly doubt that Zack Snyder stuff is in it. I think most of the stuff that's going to be cut is stuff we haven't even heard of anyway.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Let's see. And Rhea, where is this one? Yeah, Rhea clarified she was talking about Rebel Moon 1 with those.
I figured. Yeah.
Okay, so what do we go back up here? I gotta find my place, but I think Austin's comment gives me a good without William pulling it down, screwing me up. Okay, get back to there we are. Expendables was a mistake. No, man, those are my boys. Those are all my boys.
I mean, wasn't for me necessarily, but the after 2, it was not good.
Well, two was the one that really kind of got the formula down, though, because it had the biggest ensemble, and it really kind of got the it got the appeal of like having this like ensemble of these 80s and 90s action guys all together. It had more. It was the most self-aware out of all of them, and it was the one that really kind of hit the stuck the landing, hit the mark the best in terms of like what people were really when we think of like what the Expendables is offering. 2 was really the one that really landed the best on that.
Yeah, and then after that should have been.
God, 4 is so bad. I hate 4 so. And
but you could see 4 coming after you saw 3. You couldn't. You really should have had no real expectations.
I did not think it was going to be as bad as it was, though.
I mean, I saw we promoted 3, and 3 sucked. And I'm like, this is
4. I had the reaction I put out. The reaction I put out after coming out of 4 is I said the Expendables 4 makes the Expendables 3 look like the Expendables 2. So that should tell you everything right there.
No, well, because I was watching 3 and I'm like, okay, this is it. I was surprised to hear about a 4. I was like, why? It's over. All right, next one.
Yeah. But that's my hat. It was the one that had brought my boys Tony and Nico in it, and completely
don't know who those people are. See what I mean?
You're
connected to it in a Tony from way.
Tony from Ong Bak and Iko from something else I like on here. The Raid. When Megan Fox signs on so yeah. That was the thing too, is because that was. I mean, 4, it's like half the crew is gone, so there's your problem 1 right there, and then of course they I mean, obviously with each one they're trying to expand the ensemble more and more. So that's they brought in Tony John.
And they're trying to make it cool. And it's like you're not listen. You can only make the '90s cool so much. You had 2 movies. The next one.
Yeah. They're like, who else did they bring into 4? Is 4 is 4 is so bad. 4 completely lost me. It's like, let's see. Expendables 1 and 2 were the best. 3 and 4 were at. No. The way I rank them here's how I rank them. 1 is the good
Marcus
one.
Is right. Marcus is right.
Here's how I rank them. 1 is the good one. 2 is the great one. 3 is the okay one. 4 is the bad one.
3 was bad too. 3 was just not that. No, 3 was standard. It was. I think standard
3 is better. I think 3 is better than gets credit for, but it's not as good as 2 or 1.
Okay. That's not saying much, but all right. Next one.
Yeah. Aaron says, in my mind, the 7th aspect. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
A lot of people
my God, they have gotten so. I mean, it's like William says. Like, I mean, once you go to space, and not only they go to space, but how they go to space. Here's the thing. I because I mean, spoiler alert, as if spoilers were
the magnet. The magnet lost me too. The magnet.
The magnet where it's like a magnet that could like yank cars over to them from like 20 blocks away.
You realize by the time you get that car to the magnet, they've
trashed
and then the safe started off entertaining until it just wasn't. And then I'm like, okay, this is lasting a really long time.
But here's the thing: is like, as if spoilers like really even remotely applicable in this franchise. I mean, I'm assuming like mostly probably, yeah, Gal Gadot, returns as Giselle at the end of the last one. And I said, here's the thing: this series, I mean, it just operates on such anti-logic so much at this point. I hope they don't even explain how she survived her ostensible death in the sixth one.
I don't know how she survived that, but I always say comic book that if there's no body, then there's no death.
Yeah. But
it's Roy DeMaio. Roy DeMaio. No body, no crime.
Well, but they've done that with other characters. They said like with Han or where they say it's like they said like, oh no, he it was all like a ploy. It was all set with her. It's like, I really hope they don't even bother to say, yeah, she's back, and she somehow survived. She somehow survived like falling off of this speeding airplane
because they know
with tarmac at 100 miles an hour.
They know the fans of that movie don't give a fuck. They know that they're. I kudos to them for knowing that their audience is not going to be like, oh, she's back, okay. Even though there's no way she survives that, but okay.
Again, hanging on.
Here's the thing. Once you start realizing that, saying, well, there's no way she can survive that, you have to now rationalize, well, there's no way that magnet could do that to that car and those people's gear. There's no way the car could go out into outer space. There's no way the torpedo they're getting out of that.
There's no way they're surviving. Those guys are. They're piloting and breathing in space inside of scuba diver outfits.
Well, the atmosphere alone would have burnt them up like a crisp. But even still, so if you're going to say, well, I can't take Giselle coming back and Han coming back, you have to now try to explain away the other bullshit that freaks up the franchise. And that's just no fun. Nobody's going to do that.
Yeah. Roman says, I love Snyder, but John Wick. No, listen, dude. I said this during the BVS watch party. It's like, no, it's very clear to me. It's like he takes so much influence from in his fight scenes from the Raid and John Wick. And if we ever do get to speak to Zach, on the stream, it's like I will ask. I have obviously many questions. I would love to pick his brain about.
If I ever get him on, that's just one day I don't bring you on. That'd be hilarious. Like, Brad's busy. No, I wouldn't do that to you.
No, but I will
Brad
ask him.
Internet problems.
I will ask him straight up, and I'm because I'm adamant. The Batman, BVS, the warehouse fight. I am adamant. Zach saw the Raid movies and said, I want to do that with a Batman fight scene, and like watch that fight scene and tell me you don't see the Raid written all over it.
Well, since he's never coming on this show, we don't have to ever worry about that. But one of these
and
days,
then John Wick, yeah, again, that's another one where it's like I could definitely a lot of the guys like Stahelski and Leach, they both worked with Zach before. They worked on a 300.
Too much time on the Raid next one.
Yeah, but it's like no, it's like he definitely I can almost guarantee you he's not just like fan of both of these franchises. I mean, that's among other things, many things. It's like it's part of what makes me such a fan of him as a filmmaker is that I mean he definitely appreciates a good fight scene every bit as much as I do.
Next,
I don't. Well, I mean, come on.
Next, you got your Raid moment. I didn't know when it was coming, but you got it in there. The nightly Raid mode. I need to probably put a drop for that, like a little thing where it's like it just shows like we have like a little scorecard for every time you bring it up, and it's just like we get 10 of them. We get like imagine if Netflix bought WBD. I just don't think they'd want them. Just that debt is just so bad. Part of what, like I said, makes them, that devalues them is that $29 billion and Netflix. Just to give you just an idea, man, a lot of companies are in debt. It's not like a lot of people are running around with a lot of money in their pocket, but their companies are in debt because it's leverage. It's fine. Netflix runs at $12 to $14 billion in debt annually, but they're okay because the people who finance them know that Netflix pulls in so much money that they know that at any time they could cash that debt in and Netflix would be good for it. They continue to finance them. Warner Brothers is different because once again, like we were discussing the other day, they're not shaping their company to be able to maximize their platforms. They're relying on dinosaur, realities and we're gonna prioritize this, we're gonna prioritize that, and you're telling me you're not going to invest money in the one thing that can give you stable income and revenue and stabilize your stock. So I don't know who would want to buy them other than a company like I don't even know if a Comcast or a Microsoft, an Apple or Amazon, that debt means nothing. And they're just basically getting them to exploit those assets. Everybody else, I think their debt is a liability. Where's Netflix? Not Netflix. What's Netflix's stock at versus
let me go and look them up.
Yeah. Well, I'll look up WBD stock. You look
I
up
bet
Netflix.
it's worth more than WBD's.
Oh, I can promise you is. Okay, I already got
WBD. They're good. They're good. It says they're at like $607.15.
A share. Yeah. All right. So their stock might be able to absorb it. But do you want to absorb a company whose stock is at $8.36? I mean, maybe you do. I'm not in your office, but man, that will be a good. Wow, yeah. That would be. I would like for the Netflix because, like I said, I think Netflix takes risks that other companies don't take. So, all right, next one.
Blade. No, I don't think it is a coincidence. This is very sharp observation, Rhea.
Whatever, guys. I'm too tired.
Aaron says, except for making the Expendables before they should have made the all females. Yeah, that's because they hit a.
Then they would have been accused of being woke because whenever you put women in prominent positions, it's.
Well, I see. I think that's kind of what they see, and you can see like the seeds of that a little bit, like in 2, like 2, 3, because 2, that's where they bring in Yunnan. It was Maggie. It was as the female member of the team, and then they bring in Ronda Rousey in 3, and then the Megan Fox in 4. So you can see kind of the seeds of the idea, and that kind of spread out. Like, okay, it's like one chick.
They just should have fucking did it. They just would have had and did it instead of making that movie.
Yeah, it's like well, especially now it's like you get like Michelle Yeoh leading like the After Everything Ever Wants, get her leading like the the female Expendables team, and like I don't know, like who else would you add to that? Like Linda Hamilton, Sigourney Weaver, and probably Gal Gadot at this point.
Yeah. All right, next one.
Yes, they should. Oh, GJ Yanin, that'd be awesome. GJ Yanin from Chocolate.
I probably would still pass on it, but it would probably probably be done better than Ford did. That's for sure.
Reyes. Oh, Rhea.
I don't care. I don't care if there's 10 people on the stream. I'm not. You guys act like I hate Blade. You don't need to come on and defend Blade. It's just not what you guys think it is. You guys are, like I said, are rearranging history to make Blade into this, like it was, Wesley Snipes was Moses on the Mount with the tablets, and we're ushering in comic book movies, and it just wasn't that way. Nobody knew what Blade was. They knew who Wesley Snipes was, and that's not knocking. Now, I don't like Blade 2, but once again, we go back to just because we don't like nothing, we don't have to bump heads over it. I don't like Blade 2. I don't think it's a very good movie. I think 3 is a fucking awful movie. So, but if you guys like it, that's great. But you can't. People are like, well, whenever I hear if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have that. And I'm like, what? If it wasn't for Wesley Snipes, you would have had Blade. But if Blade never existed and never happened, you were still getting X-Men. You were still getting Spider-Man. So it's those things were already in the works long before all that. So that we don't have to defend Blade. I'm just telling you that, my issue is when people try to make it like Blade would kick through the doors for comic book movies. I'm like, what are you inhaling right now? Well, I mean, especially for some of you guys that weren't around then. I mean, that's not true. So next one.
Mm-hmm. Ray actually has one for us here on the Batman, I think. Sort of related. Do you think that was trying? No, I don't think so.
No.
Superman, I think he's pretty synced. His whole thing was like, this Batman's my guy, and it's like that's kind of where my heart is as far as CBM. So I don't think so.
I honestly think you will never see any of these fantastical characters. I don't know about Robin. I think that would be absolutely fucking stupid to put Robin in his universe, but who knows? But I don't think you're going to see.
I've always said Pattinson is he's the only Batman who could basically be his own Robin.
Yeah, I don't, and where he's at in his career. And I hope they don't time jump. I really don't want to see them time jump. I would like to see them stay in the vicinity of where they're at. But I don't, like I said, I don't think you're going to see, like, if you see Clayface, it's not going to be the anamorphic one. You're not going to see, I don't think you're going to see Green Lanterns and Kryptonians in there. The most you might see them on the cover of a magazine or an abstract or something like mentioned in the news, but I don't think you'll ever see them in that version of Gotham. And like I said, I don't even. I would bet highly that you ever see Bat Family in there. But that I can't guarantee. But like I said, the thought of Robin in that with all the work he's put in to establish that tone, to bring in the colorful boy wonder, it's just that then you come to the stark realization that a movie is not a comic book, even if it's adapted
but
by one.
Really, I mean, think about this. I mean, like, other than Pattinson, this is not rhetorical. I wrote an article on this on Screen Rant, but I mean, Pattinson, I truly think he's the only Batman actor we've had who could have also played Robin.
No, he's too old. He's like a 36-year-old Robin. I mean, granted, you had Chris O'Donnell play a 30-year-old Robin, which was stupid.
Well, no, I think they're trying to portray him as about 18-ish when he was like 25.
Yeah. But they never portray Robin as the age that Robin is, because once again, when it's on a comic book, it's okay. But when you're in real life and you got this little kid running alongside you, and you're hunting down murderers, serial killers, and rapists, robbers, bank robbers, I mean, it's not going to fly. But yeah, like I said, I don't think you'll ever see a Superman. I could be wrong. I'm not inside Matt Reeves. I doubt that you would see that, and I highly doubt that you would see anybody that's not Batman or his direct rogues gallery. So it's going to be Batman, and then whoever he's fighting, or whatever group of people he's fighting. I don't think you're going to see a bunch of add-ons with this one, because it's just not the tone for it.
Let's see. I think right. Roman's got one that's probably best for me to handle here. Asian action beats the crap out of Western action. Sean's copy. Well, okay. First of all, I don't think Chad Stahelski would even dispute, like, because the John Wick movies, I mean, they clearly draw a lot of influence from like Hong Kong, especially the most recent one. And I mean, he's brought in, he's included guys like Mark Dacascos and the Raid guys and Donnie Yen and so it's like, I mean, the idea that they're not heavily influenced by like Hong Kong or Indonesia or a lot of the action filmmakers from over there. It's like, yeah, that's not even like anything I think he would dispute, because yeah. So, but then also it's like, West. I mean, listen, okay, Scott Adkins, Michael Jai White, Marcos Aurora, my boys. It's like, no, there's some great Western action too. So, you can't be that myopic about it. It's like you gotta and it's like we're speaking a language here that William is like totally like, okay, let's just get the next question.
I'm so tuned out of this. I'm sorry. Next one.
No, man. No, but it's like, no, it's like John Wick is like, yeah, definitely draws heavy influence from like Hong Kong and and a lot of Asian territories, and but yeah, Western action absolutely does not suck, man, because you got guys like Scott Adkins and Marcos Aurora and Michael Jai White and the people behind John Wick, and yeah, you can't and Tom Cruise, of course. Tom Cruise. Yeah. Oh, will you lighten up here?
It's like 8 hours, man.
Well, if you didn't like that question, you're definitely gonna love this one. To be honest with you, stuff like Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber afforded him to get those other roles. I'm not sure without those he would have gotten the other roles. You're talking about Jim Carrey.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate that he could not have shown, because not all actors have to start with buffoonery to get roles like that. It's unfortunate that that's the case. I mean, I'm not disputing that that's the case. It's just unfortunate, because I thought towards the end of his career, you actually saw a dimension that could have really catapulted him to a level that I just never thought he reached.
He's going to be in the next Sonic, though. And by the way, that actually was, I think, one of like the only news items we got today was that Keanu Reeves is also going to be voicing Shadow in Sonic 3. So
that is not news for me. So, but yeah, I mean, Sonic. I mean, there's a difference between Sonic and then, like I said, it all depends on what he wanted. Because I just always got the sense that he always wanted to try to do these other deeper roles, but he just never could get those roles because of the stuff that he did. That's what people expected of him. That's what people wanted from him. So he just never could get, those deeper roles until, he just decided to get out of the game. So,
all right. Rhea says it really sucks a lot of really good international and often don't hit their radar here. I think Netflix does the best to make them accessible, though. Yeah,
they definitely do. They are the champions of foreign movies, because without Netflix, a lot of this stuff does not reach our shores. It definitely doesn't go into theaters simply because a lot of it is in subtitles, and it's considered foreign film. And foreign film just, like I said, unless you're an Oscar voter, foreign film mostly doesn't do well here. And even when it does super here, people don't realize that good for a foreign movie here gets you fired for an American movie here. Like I said, -1 did great money for what they spent on it and what it was. But if Legendary put out a movie and it made less than 150 million or whatever, then we're talking about not just because of what they spent on it, but the volume of money that they just don't make. Foreign movies just don't make that money. And that's why it's good to have Netflix there, because otherwise I don't think you would get a lot of this stuff here. I don't think Americans would have access to it at all, because it's the investment, because they the way they purchase and the way they license stuff and the way they've been doing it for so long, they're able to basically do it in bulk and just get these things and churn them through. So other studios are not going to do that. They're just not. And it's unfortunate, because I'm a big fan of foreign movies, especially horror movies.
Ford says Godot's character fell off a plane doing 100 miles an hour. Of course, they didn't show the body of the movie turn. Well, yeah, and that's why I say now that she's back and she's part of the finale, it's like, that's why I say don't even bother explaining. Just say, yeah, it's like the fact that they just survived by the power of family.
Yeah, Wonder Woman. She turned into Wonder Woman as she learned.
Yeah, that's true. Most of the Fast and Furious movies are a good time, but they make zoning out a lot, though. Yeah. It's like, I mean, they've turned into comedies for me at this point, because it's like they don't.
Well, it's Acme. It's Acme. You guys are never going to see Wile E. Coyote versus Acme, but we've been watching it. You've been watching it this entire time with Fast and Furious, because that's all you're missing is Wile E. Coyote.
That's why Jason Momoa is such a great villain in Fast X, because it's like he knows what he's in. I'm telling you, if you have not seen Fast X, he is the reason to see Fast X. He is a blast in Fast X. He chews all the scenery. He is one of the best villains they have had. Let's see what else you guys got for us.
We're about to wrap it up here at about 10 minutes. So
okay,
please hit the like and subscribe button, and donate if you can to either myself, or you can donate to the charity. If you hate me but you like our charity, go ahead and donate to that. We're at 7 likes, guys. We had like 70 people in here at one time. Not all of them on YouTube, but still, hook us up. We should be approaching our 60,000th view pretty soon here. I'll be celebrating that. Oh, we got 8.
I don't know why Black Americans love identify with Black Panther, whether Wakanda or Rwanda. They wouldn't like us. They'd build a wall to keep us from visiting.
Because it's portraying us in a light that we just haven't been portrayed in all the time. It's the same reason why Bill Cosby was so important to Black folks in the 80s. All the stereotypical bullshit that we were being put on and the roles we were getting, now you had a positive one. Somebody who wasn't involved in gangs, somebody who wasn't, we weren't playing slaves, we weren't playing, things that, either told a negative, albeit true history, or we weren't being in the stereotypes, being a ghetto, being a drug dealer, pimp, or all that. It was a role that portrayed us in a higher sense of light. So that's why that's why people, and not just identify necessarily, because obviously Wakanda is not real and that shit doesn't exist, but the aspirational factor of it is much larger than just being able to relate to it one-on-one. So I can understand it completely why Black folks would. Not will every Black person feel that same way as I do. No, Forth is Black. He doesn't feel that way, but many, if not most of us did. All right, next one.
They were going to make the all-female Expendables a bitch by Stallone. They got backlash because the women had to go undercover as prostitutes. What the hell? No, that's not what happened.
I have no idea whether that's true or not. Next one.
I brought this up earlier, but I'm just going to bring it up again because it's true. And I'm going to wait until William looks at it.
I already looked at it and dismissed it. Next one.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's true. It's true. Fast and Furious have been dumb since the first one. Why does the floor fall out of Brian's car the first race? Because of a NOS malfunction.
Oh, you're asking me questions I have no. There are so many other reasons why to give up on that franchise. Now you're giving me technical ones. All right, guys. How close are we to being the end of the chat? Because I want to answer as many as possible.
I think I'm pretty close. I think we just about wrapped.
We'll wrap up the chat and then we'll wrap up the show.
I tried watching Fast X maybe 5 minutes and I was like, I just can't do this. I waste a lot of time in my life, but not to this extent.
Yeah.
If you're not on board with just completely saying like we don't care at all about like logic or physics or gravity or like it's just the laws of like how like life works. It's like then this ain't gonna be the series for you.
And if that's the apparatus that they want to use to tell their story, that's cool. It's just not for me. It's just kind of goofy. Very.
Williamsburger, actually last comment. Williamsburger time, yeah, and that's very good news. That's good to hear.
Not a burger. I've stopped eating burgers, so I don't have to hear these stupid ass references.
But that's burger, not good. That's the opposite of good to not eat burger.
Awful show. And just like I said, every time I look at some stupid shit like Good Burger, I'm like, something else didn't get made so that this bullshit could. That's what sucks about some of these really, really stupid movies and stupid shows. It's like something else didn't get the spot because this did. And that's what makes it double tragedy. So next one.
Rhea's got a couple for us here. William, wouldn't you agree that the sitcoms in the 70s and 80s were positive examples of working class Black Americans? I think those did more for cultural awareness to shows like Cosby and Fresh Prince.
Well, that's what I mean. Like Cosby. I brought up Cosby Show. Fresh Prince too, because Fresh Prince, Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil was a dude. I loved Uncle Phil. I remember when
Uncle Phil was he was a lawyer and he made it to a judgeship, didn't he?
Yeah, and I remember the episode. I think it was the first episode where Will Smith's character was like, you don't care about the Black struggle and the Black movement. And I remember Uncle Phil lit him up. He's like, you come in here and you're talking about the struggle. You talk about Malcolm X. I marched with the brother. I mean, he just laid into him. And from that point on, Will Smith's character really respected the hell out of Uncle Phil. And what I loved most about that show is the relationship that grew over the years to the point where not only did Will Smith's character respect Uncle Phil, and for not just being some rich fat cat, I mean, a guy who was self-made, Uncle Phil respected the man that Will Smith became by the end of the show. And I really enjoyed that show. So yeah, Fresh Prince is another one. Cosby was definitely one, notwithstanding the current stuff, but just where Cosby was out in the 80s. That was I mean, like I said, because we weren't being portrayed like that on TV. Even one of my favorite, the Jeffersons. The Jeffersons is another one. But then you had Good Times. Now, granted, we were living in the projects and all that, but the good thing about Good Times, it was a family dynamic more than anything in that show. It didn't matter how much money they didn't have. They found the way to get through. They found the way to make it through. And they found the way that they had their own core values that didn't revolve around money and material items. So I think that is good. But for every one of these 4 or 5 examples I bring up, there was a lot of other stuff up there that, either we weren't getting those roles or we were being portrayed, in things that were just like what you would have expected if that's all you saw us on TV. So no, I would 100% agree. But yeah, even, there's a lot of shows that were kind of gray area stuff, that, like I said, that just were kind of stereotypical. But coming into the early, especially the mid 80s, when you had shows like Different Strokes, when you had 227, or when you had A Different World, those are the shows that we got. And then rolling into the 90s, but not to when you're talking about comic book movies and within the genre, you didn't have that. We didn't have that. We've never had that. We never had. What was? And like I said, I know people bring up Blade, but on Blade's best day, it was not part of this big, ginormous machine that we hadn't been represented in yet. And Blade wasn't $1.5 billion movie. I mean, so at that level, we hadn't had that before. So that's what I mean when I say that. Next one.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I was actually just going to mention this because this might, William's probably going to hate me for bringing it up because it is a Nickelodeon show. But this might kind of fall into what you're describing there with Cosby Show and Fresh Prince. Was anybody in the chat familiar with the show?
Family Matters too, by the way. Family Matters is another one.
I was gonna say my brother and me. My brother and me was one I used to watch when I was little, and it's centered on a Black family.
Now I'm not saying we didn't have anything. There's just different tiers of it. That is, like I said, we obviously had Black people in movies. We do, but there's only a handful. And like I said, with the superhero genre at the time that Black Panther came out, being the highest grossing movies of all of them, add us to that. That was significant.
Yeah, that's I thought I'd bring that one up. Although it's like the one kid on there that I could not stand. It was that kid. Again, anybody who's watched the show will know I'm talking about. This kid, Goo, was his name. I mean, he had a different. That was like his nickname. But it's like I couldn't stand that kid because he was just such a cocky little shit. He was so full of himself. I couldn't stand him at all.
There you go. All right, next one.
Yeah. Somebody in the comment will probably say, "Oh yeah, I remember that from Nickelodeon." Oh yeah, this is very good news.
Next.
Yeah, yes, he was the voice of Shredder. James Avery was the OG digital Shredder voice. Yeah.
Yeah, he died too soon as well.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. I loved Family Matters and Fresh Prince in the 90s. Yeah, I like Fresh Prince. I didn't really get into much until like later in life because I like watched it here and there when it was on, but it wasn't like until like later on, like when it was in syndication, that kind of like basically like once Will Smith actually became a big star, that's when I kind of started kind of revisiting.
Yeah, after 1996, after Independence Day, he was on that level. He was on that Snipes level, if not higher.
Yeah, it was like for Blade in the 90s, it was either going to be Wesley Snipes, Will Smith, or Denzel Washington. It's like that was it.
That's it. We didn't.
If you didn't have one of them, you were not selling Blade back then.
Yeah, the studios are going to be like, "Who are you? Okay, I like your idea. Can we get Denzel, or can we get that?" That's how the conversation would have went. Because, like I said, there wasn't a lot of us at that level, at that box office draw level back then, and that's why. And like I said, when you're those three, you determine your project and whether a project gets made. So that's how that goes.
Azteca says my brother amused my shit. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, but like I said, Goo.
I was after my. That was after my time.
That kid at all. I could not stand that kid at all. But otherwise, I did like the show.
Well, I stopped watching Nickelodeon mid '90s, because I was just too old for it.
Neil Brewer says I was more of a Martin kid.
Martin was good. Martin was good. There was a couple other different. Living Color was good, like I said. And then when you went to a Renaissance, but when you and Jamie Foxx is another guy. I mean, Academy Award winning level. But like I said, there are examples. There's just, like I said, they weren't as many as you can point out. There weren't enough, and they weren't at that stratosphere. They weren't at the $1 billion, everybody's universally acclaimed level type stuff.
Oh, Azteca. Yeah, I remember the show too. Salute Your Shorts, which had, of course, the main kid, Bobby Butnick, was the kid who was John Connor's friend in the arcade who says, "Nah, I don't know. Hey, John, watch out. The T-1000 is coming for you." So.
All right, let's not rehash a bunch of '90s Nickelodeon stuff, guys, because I'm out of that conversation.
Bernie Mac was great. Yes, Bernie Mac was a very funny man. I had enjoyed him a lot, and he was another. That was unfortunate when because he was only like 52 or something. Like,
yeah, one of the kings of comedy. Yep, he died too.
He had this one line, the first Transformers, that made me laugh so hard. It's when Shia LaBeouf is his dad's taking him. Yeah, he's the guy at the car dealership, and he's the salesman, and he's taking his father's like he's trying to pick out a car, and they obviously end up getting Bumblebee, but his dad's like low ball on the salesman. He says, "Hey kid, get out of the car." He's like, "But you just told me like cars pick their drivers," and he says, "Yeah, well sometimes they pick a driver with a cheap ass father."
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, all right. This one.
He was funny. He was very funny.
He definitely
was really funny. So we miss Bernie Mac. And I like All That and Living Single. Yes, well, one of those was Nickelodeon. It had a sketch.
Living Single.
Yeah, All That had it had all of that.
We had a lot of shows.
Yeah, you know what was on? You know what was on All That?
Next.
Oh yeah, it's Dune 2 is out on VOD now too.
Here you go. That's gonna make a lot of money.
People saying Friends is a ripoff of the show Living Single. I didn't even know that show existed 12 years ago because we got that show here in Australia. Yeah, I never watched Friends, to be perfectly honest.
I really didn't. That and Seinfeld. I gave Seinfeld a chance. It just wasn't for me. So, but yeah, that must see Thursday.
Yes, yeah, Seinfeld was another one. It was kind of like Fresh Prince, where it's like I kind of discovered that basically after it had ended.
I liked Jerry Seinfeld as a stand-up because that's where I first found him. Before Seinfeld came on, I just wasn't a fan of that show. I just wasn't, and I didn't hate it. It just didn't connect with me, so I just didn't watch it.
I've never seen a single episode of Frasier, and they got this reboot coming up. So good luck with that. I mean,
It's not even a reboot. It's Frasier. It's literally it's him. It's Kelsey Grammer. So there's no reboot. He's just there. It's just another a continuation.
Haven't seen Unhappily Ever After either. So
neither have I.
I saw Home Improvement here and there when I was a kid. So I mean, Tim Allen, I kind of mainly knew him as Santa Claus, and eventually I got to interview him for the Santa Clauses, the show on. So that was pretty fun. But I mainly
never saw, and I never will see Santa Claus the movie.
I mainly knew him as Santa Claus and Buzz Lightyear, and also that Star Trek movie he was in. I think it's called Galaxy Quest.
I'm looking up Galaxy Quest, and there's no Star Trek next to it. So
really, because it was voted the 7th best Star Trek movie. I mean, I think you might.
Yeah, my old Trek fan. The same people who voted that the best one are the same people who strangled the life out of Star Trek for 12 years. So, and we didn't get Star Trek on TV from 2005 to 2017. Those are the same people who voted that in. All right, so there you go. There's your reference.
Droga.
Next one.
Let's see. I watched The Office for a bit. It was cool, but I fell off. I started to focus too much on romance. Yeah,
I could not get into that. Everybody told me I should watch that show. I guess they didn't know me very well. I just couldn't get into it. It just wasn't for me.
I mean, as far as like 90s TV shows, or like, episodic like sitcoms. I mean, obviously my biggest one, I mean, I'm the guy who's going to say was The Simpsons. I was a massive Simpsons fan. I started off as one when they first came on the air, when they first transferred from the Tracy Ullman show and they first came on the air. But once again, as I grew older, I just didn't feel the draw to that show on a regular basis. And it's been on so long. It's been on since 1990. So we're talking a 34-year-old show. It's one of the longest running shows of all time. But I think about 90 when I graduated from high school. I think that was the year last year I stopped watching The Simpsons. Yeah, I still check it out.
There's a lot of people that are older than me that still like it. For me, it just didn't feel that. Sometimes it's just like when you just grow out of stuff. And it doesn't get bad. I rotate away from it.
The consensus definitely is that it peaked in like the first 10 seasons, in the 90s, and then after that, like it had it sprung back up when the movie came out. So those people say like that's kind of like the best of The Simpsons. Is season 1 and then the movie. Oh, actually, we should yeah. You might be right there. That might be good for a watch party too. The Simpsons movie.
That'll be one of those Brad solo shows. I can't sit through that anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Next one.
British version of The Office Superior. I haven't seen it.
I've heard that the Ricky Gervais version. I can't stand Ricky Gervais, so I can't bring myself to watch him. So, but I've heard that though. He just rubs me the wrong way.
Oh, I watched that. I watched it here and there too. I was never that in the goof.
I just don't find him funny. But next one.
I can do a pretty good goofy yell though.
All right, gotcha.
John Krasinski's Care of The Office. It was obviously his audition for 15 years later when he show up for 5 minutes as Mr. Fantastic and they get turned to Silly Buddy.
Well, he ran that show though. Yeah, so it was
he's kind of pulled a little bit of Jordan Peele where he's now become a horror filmmaker with the Quiet Place franchise.
Yeah, but he makes his movies end properly though, so I can't put him in. I can't put mix him up with Jordan Peele.
Fourth is again fourth thing. If we went back in time, prevent the Blade movie when you return to our time, almost be like, who is Zack Snyder? Never heard of him. No, there's no correlation, man.
All right, yeah. Next.
She'd love Pee-wee's Playhouse. I did too.
I love Pee-wee's Playhouse too. I love Pee-wee Playhouse. And then the thing about Pee-wee's Playhouse that was so fucking hilarious is it was such a raunchy and perverted show. But watch if you had never watched his Showtime special prior to watching that cartoon, there was a lot of shit that they got away with, and they got away with it from 4 years, 1988 to 1992. They got away with a lot of stuff. Mecha Lecca High, Mecha Heiny Ho. When he wished for a companion, there was so much stuff that I'm like, and I bought into it. But when he got arrested in the when he had his little
incident,
that's when people were like, wait a minute.
They looked back on it and said, oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
I'm like, because you watch the Showtime special, it's vulgar. And Pee Wee Herman's stand-up routine as Pee Wee Herman is vulgar. And how did you get a kid show? But hey, not only did he get it, it lasted. So there you go.
Perhaps a watch party of the South Park movie after the Simpsons movie.
That's going to be one of those. I'll find a way to disappear. I can't stand South Park.
I'm not a big.
I saw the movie. I went to see the movie.
I'm not a big South Park guy myself.
Yeah, I know you guys love it. I just never. Oh my God, they'll get Kenny, and then they were the devil and Saddam Hussein were fighting each other.
How many times has Kenny died on that show? He's died.
He dies all the time. That's the gimmick, you know. I just never connected.
But if you tally it up, he's probably died over 10,000 times by now.
Yeah, I think there's like a movie or video about it. Pee Wee movie. Yeah, Pee Wee's Big Time Adventure.
Yeah.
Oh, when he does the tequila, I'm trying to use a phone.
Yeah. We let him go.
Oh, Large Marge. That was a horror element. That was like you saw this.
Oh, what else? What were some other memorable moments? Because that was Tim Burton's first big thing we did before Batman.
That was one of some of the Tim Burton I could actually watch again. I never liked Beetlejuice. I love Pee-wee though. I love Ed Wood. It's like for a while there, it was hit or miss with it when it came to Tim Burton.
What am I? What am I?
It just started missing. I mean, you know, too many misses for me when it comes to Tim Burton until Wednesday. So, but yeah, Pee Wee was one of those ones that was, like I said, he was just I can't believe he passed away at 70. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, because here's the thing about Jim Carrey. There's two different types of comedy. Jim Carrey's comedy, like I said, I just think it was just dumb. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this because I know you guys like Ace Ventura. I think Ace Ventura was just dumb. It was I can't even come up with kind words for it. I never laughed at any of the stupid shit that they did in there, and it really turned me off to him because I'm like, this is all this guy has. And it wasn't until later on when the last 10 years of his career to where he actually started getting roles that were like, this guy can do that. I mean, and I'm like, how much time was wasted, you know? And I know people say we just get these other roles, but there are other people who didn't have to do it for that long that got roles. And it's unfortunate that, like I said, he doesn't do as much anymore, but I would like to see him get more roles like Man on the Moon, Truman Show, or his best role, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He's excellent in that role. He is excellent. I cannot believe that when I'm over in deployment and I'm watching that movie, and it's like we're watching it with a bunch of people, and I'm like, this movie's great. And then he's good in it. He didn't get an Academy nod that year, and I thought that was stupid. But I'm like, the same guy who's making me feel this movie and making me feel the plight he's going through. This is the same guy. This is Cable Guy. This is Ace Ventura, and I'm like, wow. It's just weird, but no. I thought the stuff in Jim Carrey's earlier career, I just thought it was buffoonery. I just didn't enjoy it. But Pee Wee Herman was little the difference because it was a different type of comedy, and that was his thing. I don't think Pee Wee aspired. I mean, he did Buffy the Vampire Slayer where it took him 5 minutes to die, but and he wasn't. You never got the sense that he wanted to do anything but what he was doing. I always got the sense that Jim Carrey was fighting for other roles, but because of the other stuff, people didn't take him seriously in those roles until later on, and then he stopped acting. Now, he pops up every now and then, but not like he was in the 90s.
All right. Kenny dying hasn't been a thing in ages. No.
All right, well, you're talking to the wrong guy because I don't watch the show. So next one.
Yeah, again, I'm not an expert either, so
yeah,
I've seen it here and there, but it's just not my thing. What else you guys got? Hi, Droga. I mean Venom. Excuse me.
No.
What keeps making me think that you're Droga, other than everything indicating that you're Droga? So, the best show of all time is the Bird Show. Yeah, he is actually. I do like him a lot as Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic movies.
I am not a subject matter expert, so I'm gonna go along with you guys on that one next.
Jim Carrey was good in number 23, and he was great in Death to Smoochie, 24-Hour Photo. Some of the best actors or comedians.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You look at where the turning point for Robin Williams, he got there a lot earlier and took those heavy dramatic roles a lot sooner than Jim Carrey had a chance to. I don't think Robin Williams was ever typecasted in the same way that Jim Carrey was. Robin Williams got to it a lot earlier, to the point where the expectation was vast, and I don't think Jim Carrey got to that point until later, and he decided, he wasn't really acting anymore. So yeah, I mean, I can agree, but you got to realize that the trajectory of those two gentlemen's careers was dramatically different, at least in my opinion. These are just opinions. Don't come at me. Next.
Pee-wee was in that Johnny Depp movie in the 90s. What was it? That's a good question.
Was he in Hairspray?
I'm not sure. I can tell you offhand.
It's definitely probably one of Tim Burton's movies, but
yeah, probably.
1 hour photo is very creepy. It is very creepy. But once again, that was showing you the depth that what Robin Williams could do. And I believe that Jim Carrey could go to those same places. He just never really got as many opportunities. I mean, maybe it was a decision, his decision. I don't know. But I just when I see him in certain roles and I see him in others, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Tommy Jones buffoonery. Yeah, it's only because apparently when they made Batman Forever, they weren't getting along behind the scenes, and Tommy Lee Jones told I can't say your buffoonery.
Academy Award winner talking to you, so yeah, that little statue carries a lot of weight in those roles. Next one.
Let's see.
Paul Rubens
was it Mystery Men? One of his comeback movies. Oh, Mystery Men is so underrated. Mystery Men would have been, and it came out too like 10 years too early. That's the thing.
It came out at all.
It was capitalizing on the superhero movie trend before it happened.
The fact that it ever came out is an absolute fucking tragedy. That movie sucked, except for the song and the soundtrack. That movie was horrible. I'm surprised there's a lot of people whose careers survived that movie. That movie lost a lot of money too, didn't it? Or did it make anything? I think it lost.
Yeah, but it became a cult classic, and it included.
Well, yeah, okay, so did Howard the Duck. I mean,
you know who's in it, by the way? He has the Invisible Boy. It's Kel Mitchell, and he's a part of something, another property that William holds very dear.
Okay, but Mystery Man, math is undefeated. I can't believe that movie. We should have never got a one. People are claiming we should do a Mystery Man 2. I'm like, what? Well, you want to get people fired? That's how you get people fired. Next one.
Okay. I think we're pretty caught up in the chat here.
All right, so I think that's where we're going to wrap it up then. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Midnight Expresses are only supposed to be an hour, but I just felt the mood to answer all your questions and participate with everything. And Brad, have Brad along to answer the questions I can't answer. Because there are certain things that you guys are into, that Brad's more into with you guys than I am, that I'm not. I mean, like I said, Nickelodeon in the 90s to me is vice versa, is non-existent, because I was in a different stage of life. I grew up with Nickelodeon. I remember when Nickelodeon first hit my town, when we first got it, I really loved. That's how I got into a lot of the British science fiction and stuff that I watched between that and PBS. Some of the other stuff that came out in the 90s, like there's some stuff in the 90s that I was too old to be fucking around with, but by that time I owned a comic book store, so I had an excuse. I loved the original Power Rangers. There was just something about that show that connected me to Voltron and Gatchaman and Battle of the Planets and Macross. There was just something that drew me to that. And that show, actually, when you look back in hindsight, it was really bad as far as the production values and acting, but I didn't care. It was fun. And I was in my 20s when I was watching that show. But so there's a lot of stuff that Brad is into that I'm, vice versa. So, it's good that we have us here. So we you guys aren't just throwing up questions that I don't have any answers for. So, all right, I got to go eat.
Disco was not dead. Disco's life.
You know what the sad thing about that? If you watched what killed Disco, it wasn't the fact that it was
No, that's a line to Mystery Men.
Oh, okay. But we're gonna cover Disco one day. The influence of Disco, because Disco got a bad rap. There was some bad Disco. Yeah, there's some bad everythings, but Disco got it wasn't necessarily the music that killed Disco. It was the time of Disco. It was just, if you would have put Disco out in any other era, it would have got more than 4 years. And the 4 years that it got, when it was high, it was high. You ask the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees probably made the equivalent of $1 billion during the Disco era and adjusted funds. So And John Travolta, we wouldn't have John Travolta without the the Saturday Night
That's
Fever.
true. Yeah.
All right, guys. That is it for me. I almost forgot. We are headed into the weekend. We are headed into our goal. Our close. Our goal is going to be on the 27th for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. But I just got a feeling that this weekend we may do some heavy lifting as it pertains to our donations. Obviously, it'll be on people's minds because of the movie gets released this week, and I will be talking about it a lot. I will be giving a spoiler-free review right out of the theater on Wednesday night once we see Rebel Moon, Scargiver, and then we will be doing our mini marathon with both Child of Fire and Scargiver back to back. And I think that's going to be a big day for us. And obviously, we will not have a Saturday charity stream. Because I will be going to TNA Rebellion, which is a wrestling pay-per-view, because I'm a wrestling nerd. So we may, however, do one on Sunday because I do not think I'm going to go to the TV taping. I was going to, but I have a rare day to just dedicate to the story and watch wrestling at the same time. And we have AEW's Dynasty on, and I'm going to be watching that. So Sunday we're going to have one of those nice streams to where we start early. So, but to that end. 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline, man. Even on my best days, the things are just tough to get through and get done. Just going through the motions. Just imagine if somebody's going through some shit and just going through the motions puts them in the dumps enough to where they think about ending it all. So if you're one of those people, if you're watching a show, even if we're watching a show way down the line, 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. It is there. It's free. There's somebody at the other end that's going through the exact same moment that you think you can't make it through. So there you go. Brad, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Vero. You can find me someone on Facebook. Of course, you can find me all my writing on these all some nerd topics we discuss here on different outlets. That we're published on. Of course, you can find me here on the Sci-Fi Center, finding ways to bug William about Mystery Men and Jim Carrey and burgers that are good.
I mean, you're falling on your own sword when it comes to Mystery Men. I mean, that you want to bear that shame, it's all yours, buddy. I can't. There's nothing I can do for you. That movie was awful. One of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's not in the top 10 worst movies I've ever seen.
Okay, I think I'm just talking to Lazy Boy and the Recliner. Yeah, Lazy Boy and the Recliner.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Scary movies over the top. But Mystery Men, are you serious?
There's no focus to Scary Movie. There's focus in Mystery Men.
Yeah, but it's focused on bullshit.
But it goes from A to B.
And right down to F. All right, guys. You guys have a nice morning. Mystery Men, if you don't even think about it. Don't even think about a watch party.
But it's so dry, as Aaron points out.
Without it, that for me to sit through Mystery Men, that's going to take a massive donation. We might need to meet our fucking goal. We may need to get all 15 grand right there.
Hey guys, you want to transfer the suffering from me to William? Let's throw the donations and we'll do a watch party for Mystery Men.
I'll do it. I'll actually sit down and not escape that. If you be like I said, right now we are at 11,350. If I wake up tomorrow and we're at 15 grand, and you go ahead and put it in there, go ahead and put in Mystery Men, and I'll know it was you that brought us in, and I'll know what I'll have to do. I highly doubt that's going to happen. That's why I'm putting it out there. But on that note, guys, have a nice morning, and I will continue my Vampire Monday, or my Vampire Tuesday. See ya.
Later, guys.
No. See you.